when the marginal cost of IQ is coming to zero, like you can get someone who's beyond PhD level, over 400, equivalent IQ at your fingertips for almost nothing. What do we need in a world that's going to be AI driven? And, I've been studying this for over a year now, and I think emotional intelligence is the one skill that we should be trying to hire for, foster, maintain, and grow in our workforce, in ourselves, because when the marginal cost of IQ is coming to zero, like you can get someone who's beyond PhD level, over 400, equivalent IQ at your fingertips for almost nothing. Like where are we left? Like what's left to do and be is nothing but human. And what are those human factors? It's emotional intelligence, the ability to understand, perceive, use emotional information and data to create teams and create psychological safety, understand the human condition. I mean, AI is getting very, very good at it, but if I was going to do anything, I would teach my kids emotional intelligence.
And how do you do it? Like if you're working with a client and it's a complex team and you've got politics and all those things going on, like what are the pillars that you try to lean on in terms of like emotional intelligence? And I think some people it's more innate to some than others, right? Like how do you try to foster that and encourage it to grow?
Well, just understand it's a thing, and that the most successful people, though obviously they have high IQs, but they also have the combination of high IQ and high emotional intelligence. So for those that don't know what it is, so I did my PhD in it, but that was one of the factors. Emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive emotions in others. So that's micro expressions, understanding someone's lying, understanding their body language, their vocal intonation, just like being able to look and see someone and go, oh, okay, there's something going on in there. And then also emotional perception of yourself. So understanding like when you can start to feel your heart racing, when you feel like your emotional landscape is starting to shift within yourself, and knowing that that's happening. The second is then understanding why, like why would I have this emotion? Understanding that emotions transmute, blend, and they then turn into something else. So you can have two seemingly opposing emotions exist in the same person at the same time. So you can have, you can be sad or happy at the same time. So that would be, I am reminiscing about my wonderful time I went to the beach with my grandmother, but she's dead. And that becomes happy and sad becomes melancholy. And understand that there's a complexity in emotions and that you can almost read the future. If you know that person's got that emotion, then that happened, well, they're probably going to end up there. So it's almost like crystal ball reading, incredibly important. Then there's using emotional data to make decisions. So when you've got AI, it can give you like, oh, this is probably what's going to happen. But then if you add in the emotional data to a situation, you go, well, it's probably going to end up like this because you understand, and then you're using those to make decisions. And then the most important part of emotional intelligence, and I think if you're going to be successful, if you want your children to be successful, if you want your team to be successful, this is the most important skill that you have to foster, and that is emotional regulation. Emotional regulation of yourself, knowing how to down-regulate yourself or up-regulate yourself in those critical moments, but also being able to regulate your team. Your team's flat, they're tired, but you've got to get this stuff done. How do you like bring them up? Or your team's bouncing around and everyone's being silly and you've got some high attention to detail tasks to do. How do you bring them down? Like this is the most critical skill out of anything. Running teams, leadership, parenting, being healthy, being disciplined, is regulating your own emotions, because that's the thing that drives people. Emotions drive people, data doesn't.
Do you have, because I think we could probably do a podcast, we could do 10 podcasts on the topic of emotional regulation.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I mean, maybe ChatGPT is a good place to start, but do you have any kind of resources, books, podcasts, any advice for listeners that kind of go, hang on, that sounds like something that I need to spend some time on?
I should know, but I mean, I've just read so many books and papers, I can't even pinpoint one. So,
and I think also not deep scientific, you know what I mean? I think probably
Yeah.
what the level we're at versus the level you're at could be two quite different things, you know?
If you look at Diary of a CEO, Mark Brackett, he's from Yale. So he's really famous around emotional intelligence. He does a lot of stuff with schools. So
Yep.
yeah, Diary of a CEO, Mark Brackett, Dr. Mark Brackett. So Daniel Goleman was kind of like the guy who brought EI out into the public, his book. If you Google emotional intelligence and then actually like there's people talking at Google and why they love emotional intelligence so much. I think what you've got to do is look at your context. So I'm in marketing. Why would emotional intelligence be good for me? Get onto Perplexity. That's also an AI platform that's really good for search. Go, what should I be reading? It'll come up with amazing resources. But yeah, I can't think of one. But
that's great. No, I think that's honestly, that's those two authors, those two books, the Google, YouTube stuff. I think it's because it is hard. We've only got an hour together, and I kind of there's a limit to how deep that we can go. But I do think that kind of self-awareness, right? Like I am feeling like this, therefore it will have this impact on these people, and I think how you carry yourself through a day, whether positively or negatively, impacts everyone around you, right?
Well, there's the chemo signaling phenomenon. So when you are having an emotion, you'll be out letting off like tiny droplets of pheromones or stress hormones or certain combinations of molecules that actually will change the emotional status of those around you. So for instance, when you are stressed out and you produce cortisol, it is super infectious and it will change the neural processing in your team. You get activation in the amygdala or the fear center. So you have to be very, very cognizant of the emotional state that you're in. And if you want to walk into a room and have effect, people will catch your emotions through emotional contagion, through chemo signaling. It's very potent.
It's really, really